So first, thank you for your time and selection for this semi-finals. I'm going to share my presentation now. I will start now. So we are EVA, we are ground-to-sky technology. And what we do is that we build the infrastructure for drones and robots, the infrastructure of this century and beyond. There will be 1 million drones flying by 2023, but similar to what happened with automotive industry, like you can see New York, Fifth Avenue here, there was no cars, and 10 years later, they were everywhere. The same thing is happening with drones, because they just have the good economics now, that is challenging a lot of legacy logistics. But the automotive industry could only exist because of infrastructure, because we could put some gas, we could repair, we could host the cars and protect them from environment. This is exactly what we do for drones. So today the drones land on the dirt, on the grass, they damage their propellers, they cannot charge, it's very manual operations. And we are dramatically bringing a revolution to this. So we create a mesh of stations in cities or even in non-urban environments where any kind of drone can land, charge, be hosted, or be controlled with a high level of safety and security. This is one of our products. This is a vertical station. It's the largest drone station in the world. We can host up to 24 drones. We have a full control. In this version, there is a control room, or the solution can be fully autonomous. We have two lines of products, basically, stations, and we have also mobile solutions that are very useful for disaster response, infrastructure assessment, or control. We have also smaller stations, like this one is 3 meters tall, that are used as satellites for dropping payloads, mostly for e-commerce solutions. And you see a city of France, which is Le Havre here, where we are going to deploy those stations. And where we are going in the future, when the market will be ready, we think it's not ready yet, we will also deploy our technology for urban air mobility. We don't work only for drones, we also work with robots. So we have a very strong partnership with Boston Dynamics, and we are the only one to transfer autonomously payload from a robot dog to a drone. So that allows you to connect sky to ground, but also to connect outside to the inside. All the software environment is already built, and the best proof is not to show you some rendering, but to show you a video of what we did, for instance, in Europe. So as I said, we can work with any kind of drone operator in the world. This one was a Swiss company, Tech, and here you see a person from a lab asking for a pickup. So instead of standing a person in a car to transfer blood samples, to get traffic jam uncertainty about time of arrival, and cost, we actually bring a full autonomous solution. And the operating cost of delivery is like 40 times less than an operation drone done by human beings using cars, etc. This is all autonomous. So you can see that we fly also in the midst of a city. This is because we work with the civil aviation authorities and have the full green light. Why? Is because in a nutshell, we bring more security due to a low latency and edge cloud solution in our stations. So that's myself. So I'm an ex-Tesla. I lived 10 years in Japan. I went through LBS, and Olivier Journet is our CTO. So to Olivier here. Our business model is simple. We place station and we get a revenue every month out of it. The revenue can come through a leasing, or it can also come through a cost per landing. So this is what we do in some countries. We deploy the station and we take on average a $5 charge per landing fee. So it's like a parking business somehow. We have BMW as an investor. And what is very important for the market is obviously growing. I think it's the second wave of drone investment. The first one, let's say, was more about experimentation, but now we really go to B2B with scalability for e-commerce and many applications. So the cost of delivery, if you use a pilot, is about $8 for a 10 miles drive. But if you If you use our solution, you go down to only 25 cents. That's a massive, massive savings. And we just placed 8 stations in Kuwait with 5,000 landings per day, which is just a massive implementation. And that's for e-commerce. Yes, so we can pass. The competition, we have competition, and so it's a good check. Competition is mostly what we call drone box for one drone. So they build the drone box and they also build their own drone. The problem with that, honestly, is that you cannot adapt to the change of needs. If you need higher payload, longer range, you just cannot adapt to the customer needs. So we believe that a universal solution like we do is a better offer. Those are a few of our traction around the world. We are very proud to work with NEOM in Saudi or USPS in the USA. But we have a lot of different cases happening. We just won a very interesting contract with AT&T, and AT&T chose us as the first case for 5G, working with Microsoft, and we operate literally drones in Florida and Texas, 11,000 kilometers away. We have also a very strong production capability. That's a barrier to entry. We can produce up to 900 units per year, which is really something that without capex. And so we have very strong partners here. A few other barriers to entry. We are very much advanced on quantum links between the drones and the station for higher safety. We also work on vertical heterogeneous network. What it means is that if you have really intensive drone deliveries for e-commerce in a city, you would need hundreds of antennas. That's not a solution. So with other partners, we bring very strong innovation in vertical networks. And we also mesh large cities. That's just one example. This is Tbilisi in Georgia. We will place about 14 stations linking about 14 labs and hospitals. And we are going to deliver all around the city at a cost which is very, very low compared to what they have now, but it's going to be also more efficient. This is a go-to-market strategy. Sorry?
Please wrap up your pitch.
Okay, so time is out. Anyway, I was about to conclude. So,
just a few.
Sure. It's almost finished. I just focus on healthcare. We saw a big surge, obviously, because of healthcare drone deliveries, and that's something we have been surfing on. So thank you for your attention.
Can you show us your financials? Maybe you skipped it very quickly.
Yes, so it's a very strong business, 80% gross margin. We had a 21 million valuation, and now we got big, particularly big companies. I cannot say the name, but let's say engineering companies or telecommunication companies that propose to take a 20 million stake for 20%. So it's a very, very nice valuation. We have a ROI of 4 months on average between the moment we build the station and we place it. And at this year will be on 1.5 million revenue. And we have also been granted by a big bank in America, $3 million factoring line, which means that we don't need to, when we build a station, if a customer comes with 100 station demand, we can answer literally.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Could you say a little bit more about your go-to-market and how you find these potential lessors or people to rent this stuff, and maybe also bring that home to Asia a little bit? I noticed you're integrated with Beidou, and you're also doing some things in Japan. But what are your plans for Asia?
Yes, so I can say Malaysia, for instance. In Malaysia, we work with a big, let's say, aerospace company. And they want to enter e-commerce business, but they don't want to enter with a traditional cost, let's say like a kind of Uber delivery or Grab. They want to go directly with drone deliveries. So what we are interested in is scalability. So we don't make one-shot project of only 1 or 2 stations. We want to see a project where we can make 100, 200 stations. So in Malaysia, we are going to create drone corridors and deliveries from a warehouse directly to the final customers, so not going through different intermediate companies. So that's just one example. A lot of projects also in Japan, but also in China, in Shenzhen. We are on a big program in Shenzhen.
Can you comment a bit on sort of your product? What does that landing box do to the drones? Does it help them recharge as well? And number two,
Yes.
can you comment a bit about sort of the proprietary technology behind sort of your whole product line? How proprietary the technology is?
Yeah, so there is hardware and software. The most difficult part, honestly, is to integrate different kind of drones with different systems like DJI closed system or open system like Pix4 to come and to land precisely and something that you can repeat on a plateau. So we have an expertise on that. The second thing is that when a drone is approaching, the door will open, the plateau will go out. There is a guidance to have the drone landing where it has to land. We also have, of course, we will lock the drone if you want, or we will park it eventually if it's a small drone mechanically. And then we have 3 different kinds of charging. One is swapping batteries if the drone is to take off immediately and go for another mission, or we can charge it with a cable that goes down to the foot and will be contacting our plateau, or there is wireless charging, but this takes really more time. Then we have also weight control of the drone, because civil aviation authorities say, for instance, no drone above 5 kilos should take off. This is what we control in Dubai, for instance. So in Sharjah, we are partnering with the civil aviation authority to guarantee that any drone landing will be abiding by the regulations that are set. On the software integration, we also make all the urban unmanned traffic management solution and all the communication to the drone. We reduce the latency, I think 5x, because we have edge cloud capability. So what it means that the drone doesn't need to go to a data center, which is very far away, to receive instructions or to send his location. We just manage it directly from our network of stations. So it just is a bit more clear on the tech. And we have patents also on the charging drones. So for instance, if we go for hydrogen drones, we have a patent on automated filling or replacement of containers of hydrogen for the drones. This is very unique, but we are already deploying a project for hydrogen in Normandy, in France, very soon. Yeah.
There's this trend in drone operations called BFLOS, beyond visual line of sight.
Yes.
Do your vertical stations, are those conducive to the sort of certification in the BFLOS process?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we operate BFLOS already. We have offices a bit around the world, but we have one in Syracuse, New York, which is at the heart of a 25 miles corridor. And we work directly with the FAA and even the US Air Force there for securing the BFLOS operations. Because I'll make it short, but the satellite or the radars are not efficient enough to control many drones. So we are acting actually as a part of the system to give more information on where are the drones, where they are taking off, where they are going. We can detect also the environment immediate around this. That's one point. The second point, we don't let drone land or take off from our stations if they do not have the safety requirement for BVLOS flights, which is, do they have a parachute? Do they have redundancy on power? Do they abide by regulations on weight? So if you place our stations in one city, let's say Le Havre, for instance, in France, or Shenzhen, then we will make sure that your BVLOS operations in a city will be secured. And that's really our strong point. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Time's up now. Olivier, we will move you to another breakout room where you will have a chance to talk with our colleague. And from our side, this is the end of the pitches, and we are going to debrief. Thank you very much. So you just